Jordan Goodwin is a beast. Jordan Goodwin's only played 3 games, but he's already making a serious case for that last roster spot. The Lakers took a chance on him, and he's proving why they need to keep him around. His numbers are ridiculous. 10 points per game, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, all while shooting nearly 60% from the field. That's not just good, that's insane efficiency. It's rare for a player in his position to step in and immediately put up numbers like that, especially on a team with so many scoring options. But Goodwin, he's not just blending in. He's making his presence felt every second he's on the court. And let's talk about that 3-point shooting. 42.9% from deep. That puts him in elite company this month, right behind Gabe Vincent, Rui, and LeBron James. Think about that for a second. LeBron's hitting 50% of his threes, which is ridiculous. Rui's knocking them down at 48.5% and Gabe Vincent's at 44.7%. Then there's Goodwin at 42.9%. He's proving that he's not just some fill-in guard. He's spacing the floor, knocking down open shots, and making the most of every opportunity. It's the kind of production that championship teams thrive on. The moment he got in, he made an impact. His first game, double digits. That's the kind of debut that turns heads. And then against the Jazz, that was a full-on statement game. 17 points in 22 minutes. That's beyond efficient. He shot an outrageous 72% from the field. That's not normal. That's not just getting lucky. That's knowing your spots, taking good shots, and knocking them down at an elite level. And it wasn't just the scoring. He grabbed 8 rebounds. For a guard, that's a serious contribution. It means he's hustling, crashing the glass, and making sure he's not just standing around waiting for shots. And then there's the defense. He swiped 2 steals, showing off the kind of ball pressure that teams desperately need. And from deep, he drilled half of his threes. That's the perfect combination of efficiency, hustle, and production. He's showing he can do a little bit of everything, and he's doing it at a high level. The Lakers need guys like this. That last roster spot isn't just about filling a seat on the bench. It has to go to someone who can actually contribute when needed. Right now, Gabe Vincent's been their main ball pressure guy. But Goodwin, he's proving he can bring that same intensity, and maybe even more. He fights on defense, brings energy every possession, and makes smart plays. It's not just about the stat. It's the way he plays, the effort, the willingness to do the little things that don't always show up in the box score. And let's be real. It's rare to find a player like this who's ready to step up right away. Most guys take time to adjust, figure out their role, and get comfortable in the system. But Goodwin, he looks like he's been here for years. The Lakers would be crazy to let him go. If he keeps playing like this, there's no way they don't find a spot for him. And the thing is, it's very easy to see why he will make the Lakers so much better. When you check out the advanced stats, his advanced stats are insane, and they show exactly why the Lakers need to keep him in the rotation. He's averaging 10 points per game while taking just over 7 shots. That puts him in the 94th percentile of all players. That's not just good. That's elite efficiency. And his effective field goal percentage, 65.9%. That's higher than 95% of players in the league. That means every shot he takes is worth more than most players' attempts. He's maximizing every possession, making smart decisions, and proving he can score at a ridiculously high level without needing a ton of touches. That's exactly the kind of player every team wants, especially on a roster full of high-usage stars. Now, let's compare that to LeBron James. LeBron's putting up 24.3 points per game while taking 18 shots. His effective field goal percentage is sitting at 57.8%. That's still elite, but Goodwin is shooting at an even higher level. Of course, LeBron takes way more shots, but that's the point. Goodwin's efficiency means he doesn't need a high volume to make a major impact. Every time LeBron draws a double team, Goodwin becomes a perfect option because he's converting at an insane rate. If he keeps this up, he's going to be one of the most valuable role players on the team. And then there's Austin Reeves. He's scoring 19.1 points per game on nearly 14 shots with an effective field goal percentage of 53.8%. Again, Goodwin is topping that. Reeves is known for his smart shot selection, but Goodwin is making every single attempt count at an even higher level. And when you break it down even further, Reeves is getting 1.2 points per shot attempt, while Goodwin is at 1.4. That's a massive difference. It means Goodwin is maximizing every scoring opportunity better than almost anyone else on the team. Now imagine those two on the floor together, both making the absolute most of every possession. The Lakers wouldn't just be scoring, they'd be scoring in a way that completely destroys opposing defenses. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Goodwin and the Lakers. Rui is another key piece of the puzzle. He's putting up 13.4 points per game on nearly 10 shots, with an effective field goal percentage of 59.5%. That's impressive, but Goodwin is still ahead in efficiency. Rui's true shooting percentage is 61.8%, which is solid, but Goodwin, he's sitting at 68.2%. That's a massive jump. He's making the most out of every single shot, and it's exactly why he needs to keep getting minutes. If a guy is scoring this well while taking this few shots, he's the perfect piece to fit alongside the bigger names. Now let's talk about true shooting percentage, which is one of the best ways to measure how efficiently a player scores when factoring in free throws and three-pointers. LeBron is sitting at 60.5%, Luka 58.3%, Reeves 59.5%, Rui 61.8%, and Goodwin 68.2%. That's higher than all of them. That's unheard of for a guy who's only played 3 games. Most players struggle with efficiency early on, either forcing shots or struggling to find their rhythm. But Goodwin is doing the opposite. He's taking smart shots, making the right decisions, and converting at a ridiculous rate. And here's why that matters. Luka's taking over 20 shots per game to get to 27 points. LeBron's taking 18 shots for 24 points. Reeves is taking 14 shots for 19 points. Rui's taking 10 shots for 13 points. But Goodwin, he's getting 10 points on just over 7 shots. His ability to maximize efficiency means he's never taking away opportunities from others, but he's also making sure he converts at a higher rate than almost anyone else. That's a skill that's invaluable, especially on a team with multiple high-usage stars. But it's not just about his efficiency in isolation. It's about how he fits next to these guys. When LeBron is drawing doubles, Goodwin's a perfect option to hit open shots. When Luka is controlling the pace, Goodwin's ability to finish, plays at a high level, makes him an easy target. When Reeves is attacking, Goodwin can space the floor and keep the defense honest. And when Rui is working in the mid-range, Goodwin can be that extra scoring punch that keeps the offense moving. And let's not forget about how he impacts spacing. LeBron's shooting an absurd 50% from 3 this month. Rui's at 48.5%. Gabe Vincent's at 44.7%, and Goodwin 42.9%. He's right there with the best shooters on the team. When you have multiple guys hitting at that kind of clip, defenses are forced to stay honest. They can't collapse in the paint as easily, and that opens up everything for the offense. If Goodwin keeps shooting like this, the Lakers are going to be even tougher to guard. And it's not like he's just sitting around waiting for shots either. He's scoring 1.4 points per scoring attempt. That's better than LeBron's 1.2, better than Reeves' 1.2, better than Rui's 1.2, and better than Luka's 1.2. That means every time Goodwin puts up a shot, it's more valuable than almost anyone else on the team. That's a massive advantage when you're playing next to high usage players. By the way, I'm using clips from other teams because the dude has about 12 minutes total of Lakers clips. But anyways, he's not just taking good shots, he's making them count an elite level. When you have a team built around stars like LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, you need guys who can complement them without disrupting their rhythm. That's exactly what Goodwin does. He doesn't need a ton of touches to be effective, but when he does get the ball, he's converting at an insane rate. He spaces the floor, plays efficiently, and makes sure every shot he takes is a high-value attempt. That's exactly the kind of player the Lakers need. And here's the crazy part. This is just the beginning. He's only played 3 games, and he's already putting up these numbers. Imagine what happens when he gets even more comfortable in the system. If he keeps this up, there's no way the Lakers don't find a permanent spot for him in the rotation. He's playing too well, shooting too efficiently, and making too much of an impact to be overlooked. The Lakers don't just need another scorer. They need a guy who can score without needing a ton of shots, who can space the floor, and who can convert at a high rate. That's exactly what Goodwin is doing. He's proving he can fit alongside star players without disrupting their rhythm, and he's doing it while shooting at an insane level. But then we can do the exact same thing for passing. His assist percentage sits at 8.3%, meaning he's assisting on just over 8% of his teammates' made field goals while on the court. That might not seem high compared to Luka, who's assisting on 33% of his teammates' buckets, or LeBron, who's at an insane 43%. But context is everything. Those guys have the ball in their hands constantly, running the offense on nearly every possession. Goodwin, he's playing off the ball, operating within the flow of the system and still finding ways to make plays. And here's the key. He's doing it without turning the ball over. His turnover percentage is 7.14%, which is lower than 83% of players in the league. That means when he does make a play, he's making the right one almost every single time. Compare that to Luka, who turns it over at a rate of 9.9%, or LeBron, who's at 11.65%. Even Austin Reeves, one of the smartest decision makers on the team, turns it over at a rate of 9.76%. That's not a knock on those guys. It's just the reality of having high usage. But Goodwin, he's keeping things under control, making sure every possession counts without wasting opportunities. This is where his value truly shines. He's not out there looking to rack up stats. He's playing within the system, making the right reads, and making sure the offense stays efficient. Gabe Vincent is another interesting comparison. His assist percentage is slightly higher than Goodwin's at 9.68%, but his turnover percentage is 8.56%, meaning Goodwin is taking care of the ball even better. That's a big deal. If you're coming off the bench or filling in for a key rotation spot, your job isn't to make highlight reel passes. Your job is to keep things steady, keep the offense flowing, and avoid mistakes. And that's exactly what Goodwin is doing. Now let's talk about the numbers that show just how effective he is when he does pass. He's generating 3.7 points per game off his assists. That might not seem like a massive number at first, but it's all about efficiency. He's doing that while averaging just 1.3 assists per game. That means every assist he gets is turning into valuable scoring opportunities for his teammates. Compare that to Vincent, who's generating 3.5 points per game off his assists while averaging 1.5 assists. Nearly identical numbers, but Goodwin is doing it with fewer total assists, meaning the plays he's making are leading to better scoring chances. Now let's compare it to the elite passers on the team. Luka is generating 18.2 points per game off his assists, and LeBron is generating 21.2 points per game. Those numbers are obviously massive, but again, those guys are handling the ball constantly. Goodwin, he's making plays while barely having the ball in his hand. That's exactly the type of skill set that championship teams look for. Guys who can be efficient playmakers without disrupting the flow of the offense. And that's why he fits in so well with this team. The Lakers don't need another ball-dominant passer. They have LeBron, Luka, and Reeves to handle those duties. What they need are smart, low-turnover players who can make plays without demanding touches. That's what Goodwin brings. He's not going to take possessions away from the stars, but when he does get the ball, he's going to make the right decision. That's a rare skill. And let's not forget about his ball handling. His ball handling metric sits at 49%, meaning he's right in the middle of the pack when it comes to his ability to control the ball under pressure. That's solid for a guy who isn't a primary ball handler. Luka, 98%, LeBron, 99%, Reeves, 96%. Those guys are elite, but Goodwin is holding his own while keeping his efficiency through the roof. That's why he's such a great fit. He's not someone who's going to try to break down the defense off the dribble on every possession, but he's more than capable of handling the ball when needed. Now let's look at how he fits alongside the other playmakers on the team. When LeBron is on the court, Goodwin gives him another steady ball handler who can make simple plays without turning it over. That's huge. LeBron is obviously one of the greatest passers of all time, but his turnover percentage is one of the highest on the team. That's just the cost of being the primary playmaker. But having a guy like Goodwin who can take some of the pressure off without making mistakes, that's invaluable. Same thing with Reeves. Reeves is one of the best secondary playmakers in the league, but even he turns it over more than Goodwin. When they share the court, the Lakers get two reliable decision makers who can both make plays without forcing things. That makes the offense more unpredictable and gives them multiple options when running sets. And then there's Vincent. Vincent's a solid ball handler, but his turnover rate is slightly higher than Goodwin's. If they're on the court together, Goodwin can take on some of the ball handling responsibilities without worrying about giving away possessions. That's huge for a team that needs to keep its offense running efficiently. Goodwin also brings another underrated skill, his ability to keep the offense moving without stalling the flow. Some players need the ball in their hands to be effective, but Goodwin doesn't. He can play within the offense, make quick reads, and keep things flowing. That's why he's such a valuable piece. He doesn't need plays run for him. He doesn't need to dominate the ball. But when he does get a touch, he's making the right play almost every time. And here's what makes all of this even more impressive. He's only played 3 games. These numbers are already showing that he's one of the most efficient passers on the team, and he hasn't even had time to fully adjust to the system. That's a scary thought. If he keeps this up, he's only going to get better, and his impact is only going to grow. The Lakers need stability in their backcourt, and Goodwin is bringing exactly that. He's making high percentage plays, keeping his turnovers low, and making sure every pass has value. He might not be racking up assists like LeBron or Luka, but that's not his role. His job is to keep the offense running smoothly, make smart decisions, and ensure that every possession is efficient. And he's doing that at an elite level. And if you watch the Lakers, you know Goodwin is known for his hustle and rebounds. Jordan Goodwin is rebounding at an elite level for a guard, and the numbers prove just how valuable that is for the Lakers. Most backcourt players don't even come close to his impact on the glass, but Goodwin, is outworking bigger players, creating extra possessions, and making sure the Lakers stay in control of the board. He's averaging 5.3 rebounds per game, which puts him ahead of 84% of players in the league. That's not just impressive, it's game-changing. Guards simply don't rebound like this, and yet Goodwin is proving that he's built differently. His offensive rebounding alone puts him in elite company. He's grabbing 2 offensive boards per game, which is more than 87% of players. His offensive rebounding percentage is sitting at 8.96%, meaning he's securing nearly 9% of all available offensive rebounds when he's on the floor. That's an insane number for a guard. To put it into perspective, LeBron James, one of the most complete players of all time, has an offensive rebounding percentage of just 2.62%. Luka, he's only at 2.14%. These are bigger, stronger, high-impact players who dominate in almost every aspect of the game. Yet Goodwin is outworking them on the offensive glass. Even when you compare him to frontcourt players, Goodwin is still ahead of the curve. Rui, who plays in the paint far more often, has an offensive rebounding percentage of 4.74%. That's not even close to Goodwin. And Jackson Hayes, a legitimate center, sits at 7.66%, still trailing Goodwin in offensive rebounding percentage. The only Laker who outperforms him in this category is Jared Vanderbilt, who is one of the best rebounders in the league, with a ridiculous 13.57% offensive rebounding rate. But the fact that Goodwin, a backcourt player, is right behind the team's top rebounders tells you everything you need to know about his hustle and determination. On the defensive end, Goodwin continues to dominate. He's grabbing 3.3 defensive rebounds per game, ranking him ahead of 77% of all NBA players. His defensive rebounding percentage, 17.24%. That means he's pulling down nearly 1 out of every 5 available defensive rebounds when he's on the floor. To put that into context, LeBron's defensive rebounding percentage is just slightly higher at 19.42%, and Luka's is at 19.64%. These are players who have size and strength advantages over Goodwin, yet he's keeping pace with them on the glass. Even among the Lakers' big men, Goodwin stands out. Rui is only grabbing 11.05% of available defensive rebound, while Jackson Hayes sits at 15.25%. That means Goodwin is securing defensive rebounds at a higher rate than multiple players who spend most of their time near the rim. The only Laker who significantly outperforms him in this area is Vanderbilt, who has a monstrous 22.5% defensive rebounding rate. But aside from Vanderbilt, Goodwin is proving to be one of the most reliable rebounders on the team, even while playing in the backcourt. So why does this matter so much? Because rebounding isn't just about numbers, it's about impact. Every offensive rebound Goodwin grabs means an extra possession for the Lakers. When you have elite scorers like LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves on the floor, those second chance opportunities turn into points more often than not. Most teams rely on their big men to crash the offensive glass, but Goodwin is giving the Lakers another weapon in that department. He's constantly finding ways to sneak into position, outwork bigger defenders, and keep plays alive. On the defensive end, his rebounding is just as valuable. When a guard rebounds at this level, it takes pressure off the big man. Vanderbilt is an elite rebounder, but he can't be everywhere at once. When Goodwin is securing defensive rebounds at a high rate, it allows Vanderbilt, Hayes, and other frontcourt players to focus on contesting shots and protecting the rim, rather than worrying about securing every single board. It also prevents opponents from getting second chance opportunities, which is huge when facing teams with dominant interior scorers. And then there's the transition game. When a guard like Goodwin is grabbing rebounds, it speeds everything up. Instead of waiting for a big to secure the board and then find a guard, Goodwin can take it himself and immediately push the ball up the floor. That makes the Lakers' offense even more dangerous in fast break situations. The quicker they can get into their sets, the harder they are to stop. Goodwin's rebounding isn't just giving them extra possessions, it's giving them opportunities to attack before the defense gets set. Now imagine how he fits with the rest of the roster. Reeves isn't a strong rebounder, so pairing him with Goodwin helps balance things out. When those two are in the backcourt together, the Lakers don't have to worry about getting outworked by opposing guards. And when LeBron is on the floor, Goodwin's rebounding allows him to focus more on playmaking and scoring, rather than spending energy chasing rebound. The same goes for Luka. He's a strong rebounder for his position, but he's not crashing the offensive glass like Goodwin is. That means Goodwin can provide something Luka doesn't, while also helping the team in other areas. Even compared to rebounding specialists, Goodwin holds his own. The average starting point guard in the NBA pulls in around 3 to 4 rebounds per game. Goodwin is sitting well above that at 5.3. He's rebounding more like a small forward, and that gives the Lakers a unique advantage. Most teams aren't built to handle a backcourt player who rebounds at this level, which means Goodwin's presence helps neutralize one of the Lakers' biggest potential weaknesses. And here's the scary part. He's only played 3 games. He's already proving to be one of the Lakers' best rebounders, and he hasn't even had time to fully integrate into the system. If he keeps this up, his rebounding numbers could climb even higher, making him even more valuable to the team. There's no reason to believe this is just a fluke. Goodwin's rebounding ability is built on effort, positioning, and instincts. Things that don't just disappear over time. The Lakers need toughness. They need energy. They need guys who do the dirty work, the little things that don't always show up in the box score. That's exactly what Goodwin brings. His rebounding is more than just a number. It's a game-changing skill that directly impacts winning. Every time he secures a board, he's giving the Lakers an advantage, whether it's an extra shot on offense or a chance to start a fast break. And it's not just the rebounding itself, it's how he gets them. He's not just standing around, waiting for the ball to bounce his way. He's actively fighting for position, boxing out bigger players, and making sure the Lakers don't get beat on the boards. That's a mentality that every team needs, especially one with championship aspirations. If he keeps rebounding like this, there's no way he doesn't earn a permanent spot in the rotation. He's too valuable, too consistent, and too important to what the Lakers are trying to do. Guards simply don't rebound like this, and when you have one who does, you can't afford to take him off the floor. But then lastly, I want to look at his usage. Jordan Goodwin's role in the Lakers offense isn't about volume. It's about efficiency, impact, and fitting seamlessly with the team's high usage stars. His usage rate is just 15.5%, which means he's finishing offensive plays, whether through a shot, an assist, or a turnover, less frequently than 64% of players in the league. That might seem low at first, but in reality, it highlights just how valuable he is to this roster. The Lakers are already loaded with high usage players who dominate possessions. What they need are guys like Goodwin, players who can make an impact without demanding the ball. Let's start with LeBron James. LeBron's usage rate is an elite level 30.3%, meaning nearly 1/3 of the Lakers' offensive possessions run through him when he's on the floor. That makes sense. He's the primary playmaker and scorer, taking 18.1 shots per game, getting to the free throw line 4.5 times per game, and dishing out 9 assists. His total possessions played per game, 71.2. That's what you expect from a superstar. But here's where Goodwin's role becomes crucial. He's playing alongside LeBron without disrupting the offense. He's filling in the gaps, making smart plays, and ensuring that every time he's involved in a possession, it leads to something positive. Now compare that to Luka. Luka's usage rate is even higher at 32.6%, ranking in the top 2% of players in the entire league. He's taking 20.5 shots per game, getting to the free throw line 6.4 times, and handing out 7.5 assists. His possessions played per game, a staggering 72.6. He's one of the most ball-dominant players in the NBA, but here's the thing. Goodwin still finds ways to contribute when he's on the floor with him. That's the mark of a great complementary player. He doesn't need high usage to be effective, which allows Luka to continue controlling the offense while Goodwin maximizes his own opportunities. Then there's Austin Reeves, who operates in more of a hybrid role. His usage rate sits at 23.3%, meaning he's handling a good chunk of the team's offensive plays, but not nearly as much as Luka or LeBron. He's taking 13.9 shots per game, getting to the free throw line 4.8 times, and racking up 6.2 assists. His possessions played per game, 71.4. Reeves is a key part of the offense, and having a player like Goodwin alongside him is a major advantage. Reeves is an efficient scorer, but he's not a high-volume playmaker like LeBron or Luka. When Goodwin is on the floor with him, he helps ease the playmaking burden, allowing Reeves to focus more on attacking the defense rather than having to set up his teammates. Now, let's look at Rui, who is another low-usage player, but in a very different way. His usage rate sits at 16.2%, just slightly higher than Goodwin's, but he's playing a much different role. Rui is taking 9.9 shots per game, getting to the free throw line 2 times per game, and averaging 1.5 assists. His possessions played per game, 65.1. The difference between him and Goodwin is that Rui is primarily a scorer. He's not looking to set up teammates or facilitate offense. Goodwin, on the other hand, is capable of both. He's able to take shots when needed, but he also knows how to keep the ball moving and create opportunities for others. This is what makes Goodwin such a valuable piece. The Lakers' offense isn't built around a single superstar. It's built around multiple high-usage players who need role players to fill in the gaps. LeBron, Luka, and Reeves all need the ball in their hands to be at their best. That means the Lakers can't afford to have another ball-dominant player taking away possession. Instead, they need guys like Goodwin who can contribute without disrupting the system. And that's exactly what he does. He's taking just 7.3 shots per game, which is far lower than LeBron, Luka, or Reeves. He's barely getting to the free throw line, averaging just 0.3 attempts per game, while LeBron and Luka are getting there at least 4 to 6 times per game. And yet, his efficiency remains through the roof. He's proving that he doesn't need a high volume of shots to be effective. He picks his spots wisely, makes quick decisions, and ensures that every play he's involved in leads to something productive. This is where his fit with LeBron is so important. Throughout his career, LeBron has thrived when surrounded by low-usage, high-efficiency role players. When he has teammates who don't need the ball to make an impact, it allows him to fully control the offense without worrying about sharing touches. That's exactly why Goodwin works so well next to him. He doesn't need to take shots away from LeBron. Instead, he plays off of him, taking advantage of open looks and making the right reads when the ball comes his way. The same applies to Luka. Luka is one of the most ball-dominant players in the league, and he's at his best when he's surrounded by teammates who can space the floor and make smart plays. Goodwin fits that mold perfectly. He's not going to take possessions away from Luka, but he's going to be there when needed, whether it's hitting an open shot, making a smart pass, or attacking a closeout. That's the exact type of player Luka thrives with. And then there's Reeves. Reeves is an excellent shot creator, but he's still learning how to balance his scoring and playmaking responsibilities. When Goodwin is on the floor with him, it allows Reeves to focus more on what he does best, scoring efficiently. Goodwin's ability to handle secondary playmaking duties means Reeves doesn't have to take on as much responsibility as a facilitator, which makes him even more effective. Even Rui benefits from Goodwin's playing style. Rui is a scorer who thrives when he gets open looks, but he's not a great passer. Since Goodwin doesn't need a high usage rate to be effective, he's able to create those opportunities for Rui without taking away from his game. It's the perfect balance. Goodwin isn't demanding shots, but he's making sure his teammates are getting the best looks possible. And let's talk about possessions. Goodwin is playing 44.3 possessions per game, which is significantly lower than LeBron, Luka, or Reeves. That means he's getting fewer opportunities, yet his impact remains high. He's proving that he doesn't need to dominate possessions to be effective. He's picking his spots, making smart decisions, and ensuring that every possession he's involved in leads to something positive. This is what makes him so valuable to the Lakers. When you have multiple stars who dominate possessions, you need role players who can thrive in a low usage role. Goodwin is doing exactly that. He's making an impact without needing a high volume of shots, free throws, or assists. He's keeping his turnovers low, making efficient plays, and ensuring that every possession counts. That's the kind of player championship teams need. Jordan Goodwin is showing that he doesn't need high usage to be a difference maker. He's thriving in a role where he maximizes his opportunities while letting the stars do what they do best. That's the sign of a great role player, and it's exactly why the Lakers need to keep him in the rotation. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.